That's actually an insane guess. I have to give myself a pat on the back there. What's good, everyone? It's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another GeoGuessr video. Today we are back on the hunt for a world record on a skewed world. Now, if you don't know about this map, it's really difficult because you can only see the side of the road. So you play no moving, panning, or zooming, and you just get a view of what you normally don't see on GeoGuessr, so the side of the road, and that's what we're going to be guessing based off of today. First round here is rather interesting. Should, with this kind of landscape, be somewhere in Peru or Bolivia? But I see this kind of like point on the top of this pole. That really reminds me of Peru here, so I think we're fairly safe to go in like southern Peru somewhere here where it's so dry, and let's go like Nazca or something like that. Ends up being 9.3 kilometers away. We are actually in Nazca there. I cannot believe it. Starting off with an absolute bang today's video. This is first take and everything, so I cannot complain about that. Let's see if we can get a high score here as well. Next one's looking good for a high score because it should be somewhere in Korea. I don't know why, but I want to go near Seoul. Yeah, I guess I'll just do that. Hey, if we're right, we're right, and if we're wrong, we just move on. We still got the country here, because, I don't know, this kind of winter coverage with the hills, I mean, like, hills everywhere in Korea, so it really makes sense, and let's go right there. Computer lagging a bit, because I just started it up, but that was actually south, so that's okay, we'll go through to the next round here, which is also gettable, certainly. Looks like we're speaking some Spanish here. Could that be an Argentinian number plate? This kind of looks like Buenos Aires, so wouldn't be surprised by that. It also feels like quite in like an old city, or like a very built-up city. And actually, I think that should be an Argentinian flag. So yeah, thinking good for BA here. Now I'm regretting not going south in Korea, because we could have actually had a stonking score here, because this should be central. And yeah, it is central right there. So ooh, what are we gonna get next? Next one here is gonna be somewhere in, I guess, Nigeria. You know, the pole. I mean, it kind of feels like Ghana, but not quite. The other question is, could this ever be somewhere in Kampala, in Uganda? That's the other option here, so I've got to consider both options well. This guy could certainly be Ugandan, could certainly see that. It's definitely an English sign, but of course that fits for both countries. I'm really delaying the inevitable here, but I don't know if you see this pole anywhere in Uganda. I think I have to trust that this is Nigeria, but to be honest, I don't really know Ugandan poles, so maybe it is just a Ugandan pole. It's a bit of a confusing round. I think I have to trust that this, I don't know if I love it, actually. I kind of think this is Uganda. Like, here's the thing. If it is Uganda, we get an incredible score, so I'm going to try it here. Let's see. Okay, it was just in Ghana. Never seen that pole in Ghana before. I kind of discounted it, because normally they just use wooden ones, or definitely different to that anyway, so last round here would have been fairly difficult anyway. Might be like Indonesia, but I don't know what I think about this fire hydrant for there. What about these cars in the background? Almost feel like American cars, so could this actually be the United States? Well, the sun is slightly more so south, so that would fit. It's a lot of palms, so it'd have to be Florida or something. I don't know, I don't have a better idea than Florida, so let's just try it here and see. And it was actually in the UAE, makes a whole lot of sense, but just because it was like a construction site, we really couldn't see anything that was going on, so I feel like it's kind of an unlucky round. Although that seed, potentially could have been a massive score. Really could have, especially when I picked out NASCAR in round 1. Regardless, this one looks like it's going to be somewhere in Poland. We have a holy pole here, so obviously on these first rounds it's good to go quickly, even if my computer's being a bit slow right now. Next round here, ooh, round pole, wooden pole here. Very, like, red roofs. Thinking, like, somewhere Eastern Europe or, like, Central Europe, something like that. Could see, like, Slovakia here, just because we do have a lot of red roofs. These hills are a bit dry for Slovakia, actually. I thought about it with the round pole, but what about, like, Croatia? Croatia actually seems quite good here, especially because they do occasionally have wooden poles as well in Croatia, so I'll give that a go. And it was actually in Montenegro, not a surprise, but just didn't get the vibe, unfortunately. This looks like Canada, could be the US. I want to try like PEI or something though. It might be there. Okay, it was actually Wisconsin. Damn, oh, that was a Wisconsin pole sticker. Sorry, Molly. Next one here should be somewhere in Greece, I thought, just with these wooden poles, but I guess it's possible that it's not. I mean, this barn thing doesn't feel particularly Greek, but we do have coastline, which is a Greek thing to see, of course. I'll try Greece. I'm not entirely sure about it, but we'll see. Oh, wow. Taiwan? Really? Would never have gone Taiwan there. I mean, the architecture was weird, but just not what I was thinking, and in the slightest, to be honest. Okay, next one here, Lidl, and we are stopping on the right there. Thinking of, well, I know Poland has quite a few Lidls, so at least I thought it did. Maybe Hungary is possible too. thinking about the actual, like, round, though, without looking at the supermarket clue, I feel like these, like, signs are really common in Romania. And to be honest, I have definitely seen Lidl in Romania before, so maybe that's actually kind of better here. Though, I could not be sure. I mean, the back of this sign would normally be black in Romania, so that's also given me a point of concern. Look, we're on 1 here, so I'm just going to go Poland, but I'm not sure what country it actually is here. Dude, I thought of Croatia as I hit go, because we didn't have any blue strips on the plates, so that makes perfect sense. But Lidl, I think, is pretty well spread over Eastern Europe as well, so probably doesn't help that much regardless. Next one here, we have a wooden pole. I actually thought of Chile off the bat here, but I think maybe USA is more likely with the wooden pole. So southern sun here would also make sense. I'll just try it here. It seems most likely. It was actually in France, so yeah, that little reflector on the pole was probably like a French one. Just went straight for Indonesia here because, I don't know, like, it's just a forest round, so you just go instantly and see if you get it right. Next one here should be somewhere in Ghana, with the taxi like this, with the yellow panels on it. Out of the 2 major cities, I would say Kumasi most likely here, so I'll just try it. It was actually closer to Accra, though. Okay, next one here, some kind of rice fields again. Muddy this time, which is interesting. Don't get as much of an Indonesian vibe off this one, but certainly still possible. What about, like, Cambodia? I don't know, Cambodia feels okay, actually. Might try that. No idea what country this is, to be honest, but I feel like it's as good a guess as any. And it was just over the border in Thailand, which I also considered a possibility, but kind of preferred Cambodia for sure. Next one here, maybe just US-Canada toss-up. Might try, like, northern US here. And it was actually France again. No way we went to France. Eastern France, twice we guessed in the US. And look, we're directly proportional with the latitude. I mean, like, yeah, that's actually hilarious. But obviously, no good for our streak. So let's head through to the next one here. I'm sure the guardrail would have helped, but, you know, going quickly. We have a Kyushu guard, like guy wire here, and Kyushu pole top as well. So we're definitely on the island of Kyushu here. And I'll go in Kunamoto. Let's try that for once. And, oh man, I thought about going in Nagasaki, but yeah, it's still going to be a decent score. Next one here. Looks like Ghana again. Green number plate though, so it should be Nigeria. Thought of like Enugu here. Red soil. It's like really common in Benin City and Enugu, so probably thinking one of the two. Maybe actually Benin City is a better shot here. I'll try that. And it was Benin City. Very good. So we're at a good score here so far. Next one here feels like... Why did I think Japan at first? But this cobblestone should just be somewhere in Europe. We can't really make out which side of the road we're driving on, unfortunately. I think maybe like Netherlands was possible here. Maybe Belgium. Maybe Denmark. I don't know. Like anything really works. Maybe even UK. Yeah, this is interesting, this cobble. What about even... Here's some logic. If this is the inside of the road and we have yellow here, wouldn't that kind of mean that that's like this... Unless that's a single lane road, but it feels like we're on the road here, right? So that would mean it's the middle of the road. They have middle road lines like that in Norway and Finland. So maybe this is Finland or something like that. Maybe Oslo as well. It doesn't feel terrific, but I guess this building could certainly be like a Scandinavian type of thing. Or we could literally be in North America, but I don't think so. This cobblestone feels much too European, in my opinion. So I want to try Oslo just based on the yellow line. It's a bit of a silly guess maybe, but... well, the best other thing I can think of is Netherlands, and I don't really like that. So I'll just try Oslo here, let's see. And it was Oslo. That's actually an insane guess. I have to give myself a pat on the back there. And we're on a crazy score, so let's continue on here. Well, this is Melbourne, I think. Yeah, it just gives me Melbourne vibes. I can't really describe why it's Melbourne, but it is, I think. Just trying to make sure it's not like Canberra or something like that. I'm trying to see if there's anything actually that separates it. Oh man, it would be embarrassing if it was in Adelaide, but it looks like we have wooden poles, so I think Melbourne is pretty safe here. Yeah, just gonna go for Melbourne here. So we could literally get we could beat Stick's record. Okay, let's pick the right suburb here. No, I don't think we can anymore. We needed to guess Nagasaki on the first round, but I'll go Heidelberg. I like Heidelberg here. Oh man, it was actually in Sunbury, so yeah, it was always going to be difficult to get. Still a great score. Let's see what we get last round. Ooh, it's gettable, it's gettable, it's gettable. What are these poles? Probably like Turkish poles or something maybe. They're like wooden, but this like pole, like alternating hooks on the pole. Could it ever be South Africa? We do have litter on the ground, which... You know, you obviously do see in South Africa quite commonly. Sun appears to be maybe north, which would put us in ZA. which is really interesting because I didn't recognize this pole as particularly South African, but if I use the sun, it does make sense. So we can still get an insane score here. Pretty sure this can't be anything else in the Southern Hemisphere. Doesn't feel like Australia at all. And if it is South Africa, then I would say it's probably just around Joburg, Pretoria area. Maybe like on the east side would be my guess, but it could easily be Rustenburg as well. That's my thought here. I really hope it's not Turkey, but to be honest, like, it definitely feels like the kind of paddocks that you get around like Pretoria, Joburg area. So I'll go for that. And man, not a bad guess. So we get 24,272, which is, by all counts, a very good score, and my PB. So we have to be happy with that. Like, man, oh man, if only I just hedged in Nagasaki like I initially wanted to, but then I decided to go for the middle click, which was silly. But the rest of them were, like, averaging 4,900-ish. So, and even this guess, like, was not, like, I could have gone the other side and gotten a much lower score, but we actually pulled a really nice game there. So let's go again here and see if we can improve this 5-country streak, which is definitely going nicely. This one is interesting. We have like a interesting insulated there. Almost feels like a Taiwan, but could this be in Thailand? I don't know if I love that. But then what else is possible here? So it's a lot of litter. Makes you think of a poorer country for sure. Doesn't really look like an Indonesian insulator to me, but I guess it could be. But it feels a bit dry. So what about, like, Mexico? Mexico actually feeling better than anything I mentioned so far. Where's the sun? Sun feels like it's probably, like, just west there, I think, so, or, like, probably midday even, so not really too helpful at all. Although, yeah, I don't think it's maybe slightly to the south, but, yeah, I wouldn't really trust myself saying that. But I think Mexico may be the best country I've mentioned so far in terms of how it fits, but again, I think I'm missing something. Like this kind of coil, I would associate that with certain countries, Mexico being one of them. I don't know if these trees in the background fit though, you know. I actually think Indonesia's still a pretty good shout. Especially like, I wouldn't necessarily associate this much litter with Mexico, but I'm gonna try it. Let's see in Jalisco here, if that's correct. And it was Indonesia. Yeah, I don't know why I really switched off it there, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Next one here, what is that flag in the background? I thought this might be like somewhere in Europe, and I thought, you know what I thought of? The funny thought I had firstly was that we might be on this peninsula here in Generation 2. I think that would be pretty unlikely, right? But I kind of want to try it. That's the first thought I had. It's remarkably unlikely, but to be honest, are we really getting this round anyway? I want to try. And that was actually in Denmark, which was one of my thoughts, so kind of through there. Let's restart the seed and see if we can go for another high score. I feel like that's actually kind of a fun format. Obviously, 24,272 is not a bad effort. But okay, next one here. We do have like a pretty shoddy pavement. I think this one actually might be, well, I thought Brazil off the bat. Is that actually going to be the right language though? Because Brazil certainly makes sense with everything, but it could still be Mexico. So the next question is, where's sun? Sun might be more northern, so yeah, I think I'll just go Brazil here, see if we're right. It was actually in Brazil, so we'll take it. Next one here, gonna be, looks like it's set up for right-hand drive. I think this is just Mexico. It could have been like Kenya or something, but should just be Mexico when it looks like that. We got the right states. That's nice and happy. Next one here, we've got the kind of like typical looking North American pole with a little hook on the top there. Definitely worth knowing if you don't know it yet. And I would say Canada. I would have to say Canada. The question is where? And nothing really strikes me as particularly that great. So it could actually be Maine here. I would not be surprised about Maine at all. But I will go in Quebec, actually. And it was actually near Sydney there, in Cape Breton, so we'll take it. Next one here. It feels like Lima, because it's smoggy. And we have these Peruvian poles. So let's see if we can get a second great Peru guess here. To be honest, this could easily be like Juliaca or something, but I'll try Lima, and it was indeed Lima. So our average on Peru today has been, yeah, very good to say the least. Okay, next one here should be Spain, I thought, but could it be Senegal? Is the other question, or Tunisia. I think Tunisia actually fits better than the other two. This pole is like very thin and like made of very thin metal. I really like Tunisia for that reason. So I'll get down here and we're so dry and sandy. I want to say it like maybe we're like all the way down here or something, and it was, yeah, all the way south there. That's about as far south as you can possibly get, so that definitely makes sense to me. We're on a 5-country streak here, so let's continue on here, see if we can make something happen. Last episode, if you recall, we got like 16 in a row, which was kind of insane, but I definitely think I can make that happen again. Just need the right luck. This looks like it should be somewhere in Indonesia. Just feels remarkably Indonesian, like somewhere around Jakarta, or like that north side where they grow a lot of rice. Next one here is probably Bolivia. Could be Argentina or Peru. Leaning Bolivia here, just with this like very red stuff on the mountains. You often get that, particularly in this like kind of more volcanic region around Potosi. So I think that would be my guess here, but can still see other 2 countries, definitely within the realm of possibility. Was kind of in that Sucre Potosi area where you get a lot of that red stuff, so that's good. Next one here, feeling Indonesian. Yeah, we have the exact same view of that pole top once again, and this time I know to guess in Indonesia, I think. So, well, unless it could be like Bangladesh or something, I feel pretty good here. Now, I think I actually want to go for a bit of Sumatran action here. Let's go for Palembang, guess here. Oh no. Oh man, see, that's the same one, and I mentioned on that other Indonesian round that we had before that it's the Thai thing, but I didn't think it was Thailand. And there we go. So they're very similar. Those two like looked identical. So you really can't actually tell the 2 countries apart from that way. So let's go for one more attempt here and see if we can make good. This this political poster here may be behind my webcam, but it kind of looks like a Bangladeshi one. And I can certainly see Bangladesh working here, so might just go for that. Could still be like Indo or maybe even Philippines, but I'll go for Bangladesh. What's Cambodia? Okay, makes sense. A lot of, Anyway, now, Pemex here should be Mexican, petrol station. That's what it stands for, I think. So I'll go for like Guanajuato here, and it was, yeah, just over the border in the next state, but that's fine. We get 1 country in a row here. Southeast Asia gave us some problems there. It did. We'll see if we can make this last one come good. Okay, so I would say a bit of reddish soil here. Like, Brazil does obviously fit pretty nicely here. Like, I also thought of Kenya, but the longer I look at it, the more I think these are kind of like Tocantins looking like trees. Or we have a bit of like haze on the camera here. I also consider that Amapa is quite likely here. So I might go for Amapa, honestly. A bit of a unique guess. Road angle is kind of fitting for some of this stuff up here, I think, maybe? Am I tripping? I'm not sure. I might be, but we'll try that. And it was actually not Tocantins, not Amapa, but just in the state of Minas Gerais. We move on to number 2. And we have a very thick, like, curb here that makes me want to say almost like Latin American vibe. But it looks like we have like very like rich vegetation over here. So that doesn't really fit. What about like Tunisia or even Turkey? Turkey is actually not a bad shout here. Kind of getting that Middle Eastern or Turkish vibe now, but such greenness is very strange, I must say. I'm not sure if I've ever seen this wide of a curb there either. So my first thought was Peru. I'm still trying to run through where in my head I think this could be in Peru. Doesn't strike me as particularly likely. What about like Argentina? Again, not that great, I think. So maybe it is Turkey. Maybe it is, but maybe it's Jordan? I don't know what... Yeah, it's a lot of thoughts running through my head here. These tufts of grass. Yeah, where would you see that? Like, maybe it is more of a Tunisian thing, but then I'm struggling to pick the rest of the round for Tunisia. I think overall most likely might be Turkey here, just because it's a big country and there are quite a lot of places with like this kind of like gravelly road and that kind of thing. Still not quite sure of what I think about this kind of left-hand side of the screen with all this like palm stuff going on. But I guess I'll go near like... go near the coast somewhere or something. Okay, it was Tunisia after all. So I really want to check this out before we end off the video here and see what exactly was going on in the background there, because that was very green. Yeah, look at this. And then we saw these. Yeah, just a whole lot of like very dense vegetation there in a way I would not have expected from the interior of such a dry country. Oh, it was a lot of cacti, that makes sense. But there were some like palmish fronds or some bigger succulents poking through there. So that's a difficult round. Definitely makes sense in hindsight. And yeah, that wasn't actually the road. That was just the side of the road. Whereas the road is obviously not gravelly at all. So that's probably the main thing that maybe go Turkey there. But yeah, that's how it goes. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end. I will see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and goodbye.